Okay, hello everyone. My name's Alan from Coding Ireland. You're all very welcome. I can see people joining in. So it's just turned 11 o'clock and that's when we're going to start our code along. So I want to give a few minutes just to let people join in, get set up. We're up to 49 people at the moment. 32 of our coders are logged in. If you don't have a Coding Ireland account, that's fine. You'll be able to work away and follow us along doing the project as well. If you do have a Coding Ireland account, I would say log in first, because then you'll be able to get the points and the badges as you complete the steps. So just while we're waiting for everybody to get set up and logged in, what I'm going to do is just give you an overview of what we're going to be doing today. So we're just going to be creating so let me switch to here. So we're going to be creating a very simple Scratch game. This is it's called a penalty shootout game. So it's quite simple. So you've got a goal, you've got a goalie, and you've got a football. And basically, to take a shot, you'll click in a direction, and the ball will move in that direction. And the goalie will choose a random direction to dive in. So let's see, we scored a goal, scored another one, see if the keeper saves. So the keeper dived in the right direction that time and saved it. And then the other possibility is that it can hit the post. So I'll see if I can get that. So if it touches off the post, it's going to hit the post. So this is the game we're going to be creating today in Scratch. So what are we up to? Okay, we have 33 people logged in. So we'll still just give a couple more minutes just to let people to get set up. I'll just explain how this is going to work in terms of you'll have one tab open. So you'll see up the top here, I've got one tab open with the instructions for the project we're going to be doing today. And then I have a second tab open for Scratch, the Scratch website, where we'll be creating our code. So that's the way that you'll have it. You don't need to open the second tab for Scratch yet. That's actually the very first step. And so we'll be doing that in a minute. So you're going to have two tabs open, one with the instructions and then the other for the Scratch website. I'm going to be demonstrating the instructions in the YouTube box. So while I'm demonstrating a step, if you want to click into full screen, so if I click into full screen here, I haven't started to stream because I'm actually broadcasting the stream, but when I am demonstrating a step, if you want to just go full screen on that, so you get a nice clear picture, and then you can come out of full screen, switch back across to Scratch and put in the code yourself. And then if you need to switch back between the two tabs, so go back and check what code you need to add for that step, go back in and put in the code in Scratch, and then come back to the lesson tab. That's probably the best way to do it. Okay, we're up to 58 coders, so we'll get going in a minute. One last thing before we get going, and that is so for all the Coding Club coders that are logged in, you're going to be getting double points for each of the steps. You'll get 250 points at the end for finishing the project, and also at the very end we're going to give away a microbit. So microbit V2 version 2. So this is a really cool piece of kit which I'll just very quickly show you. It's a little microcomputer that can be coded. If I can get the USB in, there we go. I'm going to put this up so you can see it properly. So you can do lots of different things with this. You can, it's got LEDs, as you can see. It's got a speaker, a microphone, different buttons. You can program it to put up text, different emojis and things like that. It's got a load of different sensors. It has a compass, a thermometer, an accelerometer. You can send and receive messages with them. It has Bluetooth, you can connect it to different things. So it's really cool. And we're going to be giving out one of those at the end. So stay right to the end, and we're going to pick one of our logged in coders to give that out to. Okay, so it's 11:05. We're up to 61 coders have joined. So I think we're going to get going. So again, I'll just give the brief instructions for how it's going to work, this code along session, just for people that might have joined a little bit late. So you're going to have two tabs open. So you only need one tab open, the current page with the instructions and the YouTube video. And when we create the very first step is to open up the Scratch website. So you'll have a second tab open, and this is where you're going to be creating the code. While I'm demonstrating a step, so I'll show you how to do step 1. If you want to put it into full screen in the YouTube box, go full screen so you get a nice clean picture. I'll show you step 1. Then you can come out of that, switch across. So when I demonstrate a step, view full screen, then close it down, switch across to Scratch, do the code, and then come back to the lesson. I'll try and give enough time for people to do each of the steps. If you do fall behind, don't worry. We're going to leave all the instructions up there, the project up there, so you have as much time as you want to finish it. And we'll even put up the video afterwards that we're creating today. Okay, so I think we'll get going. It's 6 minutes past 11, so it should only take, which we will probably be finished within the hour. So the very first step, so if you want to just go full screen, the very first step is just to create a new Scratch project. So that's step number 1. So if you open up this little blue tip box here, if you click on that, it'll just give you the details for how to open it up. But all we want out of here is just the Scratch link to open up the page. So I'm going to close down the one I had opened, and I'm going to click this link, and it's going to open up the Scratch website. Once it does, once you do this, just click on the Create button up the very top, and that's going to open up the project editor. So it'll just take a couple of seconds to load up, and this is the project editor. While we're here, I'll give a very quick tour around Scratch, just for people that are brand new to Scratch. So on the left hand side, we have the toolbox. So this has all the code blocks in the different categories. So we have different categories of code blocks, and code blocks are just instructions that we give to the characters, which are called sprites in Scratch. So we have different categories. We've got motion for moving things around, looks for changing their size, hiding them, changing their color. We can add in sounds. There's event blocks to kind of kick off a piece of code, and a few different types of code blocks in there as well. In the middle of the screen, if I jump back out, in the middle of the screen is where we actually drag and drop in our code blocks, and you chain them up like that. They just click into each other. I'll delete those. You can just drop any code you want to delete, you just drop it back into the toolbox. And then over here on the right hand side is where we see our code actually play out and work. So if I wanted to very quickly just make the cat move 10 steps and turn 15 degrees, when I click on the green flag, you can see that's where the code plays out. So that's a very quick introduction to Scratch. I know most of you know about Scratch already, but for anyone who doesn't. So what you're going to do is open up the Scratch website, click on Create to create a new project, and then go in and click on the little trash icon to delete the cat sprite. So if everybody wants to go ahead and do that, I'm going to mark the step as done on my screen, and I get a badge. And then I'm going to be able to see who has completed that step. Okay, so I can see a good few have already gone ahead and done that, which is great. We've 17 people have completed that step. So again, step 1 is just to go to the Scratch website, and there's a link in the very first step. Open it up, click on Create to create a new project, and then delete the cat sprite. So I'm just going to give people another 20 seconds or so to do that. So this is the way it's going to work, is I'll demonstrate a step, you go ahead and do it, and then come back, and when we think we have pretty much everyone moved along on that step, we'll move on to the next one. So the next step that we're going to do, which I'll start in a second, is we're going to add in a background, a backdrop into our project. So we've got 26 of our coders have completed that step, and we'll get going. So you'll actually see we have a feed here. So for those that are finished and are back looking at the video, we have a feed here, and it'll show you all the different coders as they join in and as they as they complete the steps. So we can see 29 Enderman has done it, Hugo, Lauren M, Tomry, Alex 12, Code Ninja is me, James M, Kat M, Luna. Loads of people have got it done so far. Okay, so we'll move on now to the second step, which is just to add in the backdrop. So what a backdrop is in Scratch is just the background of the stage area. So if I jump over here, so this is the stage area. So we can add backgrounds to it. And what we want to do for this project, for this game, is we want to add in this goal background here in step 2. Now, Scratch has its own library of backdrops that you can choose from, but it doesn't have one with a goal in it, so we're going to actually use this picture here. So the way this works is you're going to need to download this picture onto your computer first before you upload it into Scratch as a backdrop. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you're viewing this step 2 here, just right click on the goal image, choose Save Image As, click on that, and then it's going to open up this box where you can save it anywhere on your computer. So choose your desktop or somewhere you know and click Save, and that will save the image from the website onto your computer. Then you need to switch to Scratch, and down the very bottom right there are 2 buttons. One is for adding sprites, and then the one on the very right is for adding backdrops. You can open from a library, you can paint a new one, you can get a random backdrop from the library, or you can upload a backdrop, and that's the option that we want to choose. So click on Upload Backdrop and go into your folder and choose the file that you downloaded, select it and click on Open, and that will upload it into Scratch, and then you'll see it in your stage area here. So if you want to go ahead and go and do that second step, so to save the goal image to your computer, upload it into Scratch, and then come back here once you're done. So I'm marking mine as done and getting my badge and my points. Okay, so we'll just give a minute for people to do that. We can see that 23 people have done it so far. So just take your time. We've plenty of time to get the project done. There's 10 steps in the project, so this is just step 2, but we'll keep on moving along. So we can see Richard, Jimbo has done it. For the badges that we get, we've got all different series. We've got gamer series, animal, vehicles, science, loads of different ones, sports, outdoor. And then for each badge, we've got 3 different versions. So we can see Richard here has got a rare dog. So the 3 versions we have are original, rare, and then legendary. So 60% of the time you'll get an original. So we can see Mr. Krabby Patty here just got an original baseball from our sports series. So you'll get that 60% of the time original, 30% of the time you'll get a rare, and then 10% of the time, so 1 in 10, you'll get a legendary version of a badge. Okay, it seems like we've got a good few people have done that step, so we're going to move on to the 3rd step, and this is where we're going to add in the Soccer Ball Sprite. So Scratch has got a library full of sprites, and we're just going to choose one of those, which is the soccer ball here. We're going to add it in, and then we're going to give it some code. 3 code blocks. What we're going to do is we want to position it down the middle bottom of the screen, ready for us to take a shot. So what we're going to do is when green flag clicked, set size to 100%. And the reason we set the size to 100% is in a later step, we're actually going to make it get smaller as it goes away from us. So at the start of the game, we wanted it to start off at 100%. And then we're going to say go to X0, Y minus 130. So the X and Y coordinates, these determine where on the stage area a sprite appears. So x0, y0 so the x and y is like an address. x0, y0 is right in the middle of the screen. The x number determines the left and right. So as you go to the right, it goes up, so x10, x50, x100 and so on. Go back to the middle. As you go down, it goes into minus figures, so x minus 10, minus 50, minus 100 and so on. And then y is for up and down. So x or y0 is in the middle. As you go up, y50, y100, y150, and then as you go down it goes minus, so minus 50, minus 100 and so on. So to put the ball in the middle, at the bottom it's x0 and then y minus 130. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add in the sprite. So down the bottom right we're going to say choose a sprite from the library. It'll open up the library of sprites and you can search for it just by scrolling down if you want, or you can just quickly type in ball and it'll filter the results. I'm going to choose the ball here, ball sprite. So you just click on it and you'll see it gets added to your sprite. You can drag it around if you want. And now we're going to add in the code, so the 3 code blocks. So let me zoom in on the toolbox. You're going to go into the events toolbox and drag in a when green flag clicked. Then go into, let me just check, you're going to go to looks and get the set size, let me drag that up, set size to 100%, and you're going to, let me just show you, click that on so that it clicks on underneath the when green flag clicked, and then go into the motion toolbox and get the go to XY block. It'll be already populated for whatever position the sprite currently is in, but we're going to change the X number to 0 and the Y number to minus 130. So now when I click on the green flag, the ball goes down to the middle, bottom middle of the stage area. So if you want to go ahead and add those, add in that sprite, the soccer ball sprite, and then add in those 3 code blocks to the sprite, and then click on the green flag to just check that your code works. So I'm going to mark that as done, see what badge I got. Oh, I got a legendary from the science series. And we'll just wait, give you a bit of time to finish off doing step 3 there. So I can see some people are going ahead of me, which is no problem. I'm just trying to go at a pace in the middle of everybody, that I'm not too fast and not too slow. There's no problem at all if you do go ahead, and if I am going a little bit too fast for you, that's no problem. As I said, we're going to leave the project up there, so you'll have, it'll be up there all day for you if you want it, save all the time you need to get it finished, and we'll put up the video at the end. Okay, let's just quickly, while we're waiting, take a look at what are some of the badges people are getting. So Gamer Series, Animal Series, Sports Series, Gamer, Halloween, Animal, Science, lots of different ones. There's a couple of legendary badges being awarded. Okay, so what are we up to now? We're up to 29 coders have finished that step. So I'm going to move on to step number 4. Actually, I'll just give a little bit more time. I'll just give it maybe 30 more seconds, just in case some people need a little bit more time just to finish off that. Okay, so now moving on to step number 4. So here's where we're going to choose our shot. This is where we're going to click on the stage area and choose our shot. So I'll just open up this little animation. So you're going to choose a direction you want to shoot the ball, and what we're going to do, and you're going to choose it by clicking, and what we're going to do is we're going to detect that click. So when you click on that stage area, we're going to detect that you have clicked it, and then what we're going to do is broadcast a message, send a message to the sprites just to let the other sprites know that this stage area has been clicked. And then in a later step, we're going to we're going to receive that message, and then we're going to do something about it. But at the moment, we're just going to detect the click and send the message. So let me switch across to Scratch. So at the moment, I have selected the ball sprite, and we're seeing the code for the ball sprite. Now, let me get rid of my head. I want to select the backdrop. So I'm going to click here on backdrops, or on the stage area, or the stage and backdrops, and you'll see that the blue box goes around it, and that the code disappears. That's because we haven't added any code to the stage yet. If I click back on the ball, you'll see the code for the ball. Click back on the backdrops, there's no code there. So click on the backdrops, and then you're going to go into the events toolbox, and in here you're going to get when stage clicked. Let me zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. When stage clicked, and then still in the event toolbox, you're going to get broadcast message 1. So this is the code block to send out a message, and we're going to change it. By default, it'll just be called message 1, but we want to call it something a little bit more intuitive, something that means a little bit more to us. So we want to rename it or create a new message. So click on the white arrow. So here, let me zoom in. There's a little white arrow beside message 1. Click on that, and then click on new message, and it'll ask you what you want to call it. And we're going to call it shoot, S-H-O-O-T, shoot, and then click on OK. So that is the steps for this step. So click on the stage, go into the events toolbox, add in when stage clicked, and then broadcast message 1, but choose to create a new message and call it shoot, S-H-O-O-T. So I'll give you some time to do that step. While you do, I'm going to go back and mark my step as done. See what badge I got. I got a train, a rare. And we'll just keep an eye on all the coders as everyone completes that step. So again, you're going to click on the stage or the backdrops so that you can add some code to the backdrop. Go into events toolbox. When stage clicked is the first block you'll add, and then broadcast message 1, but we're going to choose to create a new message called shoot. And then once you've finished that, come back and mark that step as done. Okay, so what are we up to now? So 25 have completed it. So I'll just give a little bit more time for people to finish it, and then we're going to move on to step number 5, so we'll be halfway through. So remember, at the end we're going to be giving away the microbit, which is a little microcomputer that can be coded. So and we're going to get a list of all the coders that have completed the project, all our logged in coders, and we're going to choose one at random. We're actually going to do that in Scratch. We're going to choose a random number to help us pick the random coder. Okay, so hopefully everyone, we're up to 29 now. Okay, so we'll move on to step number 5, and this is where we're going to make the ball move. So in the previous step, we broadcast the message shoot. We sent out the message shoot. In this message, in this step, we're going to receive the message shoot, and then we're going to do something about it. So the ball sprite is going to get that message and say, okay, I need to go move in the direction of where the mouse is. So I'll show you the little animation first of all here. So when you click, so we're clicking the top corner here, what the ball is going to do is it's going to point towards the direction that you clicked, and then it's going to move off in that direction. So it's going to start big and then kind of get a little bit smaller as it moves away. And you can see here in the code, what we're going to do is when I receive the message shoot, we're going to point the ball in the direction of wherever the mouse pointer is, so wherever you clicked. And then we're going to use a repeat block. So these repeat blocks, let me zoom in here a little bit. These repeat blocks let you put code blocks inside them, and what they do is they just repeat whatever you put inside it a certain amount of times. So we're going to change the size of the ball sprite by -2, and then we're going to make it move 8 steps, and we're going to repeat that 30 times, and that's what's going to make it move away from us and in the direction. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add this code. So I'm going to click on the Soccer Ball Sprite because we're adding the code to the soccer ball. And let me just zoom in on the toolbox so you can see what I'm doing. So you're going to go in and get, in the events toolbox, you're going to go and get when I receive shoot, and drag that in. Let me just quickly check. And then you're going to go into the motion toolbox and get a point towards block and put that underneath the when I receive shoot. But instead of mouse, we are going to point towards the mouse pointer. And then you're going to go into the control toolbox to get the repeat block. So into the control toolbox, get the repeat block, put that in. Instead of 10, we're going to change that to 30. So change that to 30. And then go into the looks toolbox, and you're going to, where is change size by? You're going to get the change size by 10 block, and I'm going to put that inside the repeat block. Sometimes you might drop it in the wrong place. That's no problem. You can always just break it off again and put it in where you want to. So we're going to change size by -2. So we're actually going to be taking away from the size so that it gets smaller. And then we're going to go into the motion toolbox, get a move 10 steps, and put that inside the repeat block as well. And I'm going to change to 10 to 8. So that's all the code for this step. I'm just going to test that it works. So click on the green flag. Let me just zoom in the stage area. I'm going to click on the green flag to make sure all my code is loaded in. And then I'm going to test it by choosing a direction. And as you can see, the ball is going in the direction and getting smaller. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and come out of full screen, if you're in the YouTube full screen, and go ahead and do that step. So you're going to be adding this code to the Soccer Ball Sprite. So when I receive shoot is in the events toolbox, into the motion toolbox to get the point towards mouse pointer. So that's going to make the sprite point towards wherever the mouse pointer is. And then we're going to go into the control toolbox and get a repeat block. It'll say repeat 10. So drag that in, and then we're going to change that 10 to 30. So repeat these. We're going to repeat 30 times, change size by -2, and then move 8 steps. So I'll give everyone just a little bit of time. Oh, I'll mark my step as done, get my badge. Oh, so this is from the writing series, a paragraph rare step I got. And we'll see now in a second how many coders have done. Let me just check the live stream, make sure everyone is still in. Brilliant, okay. So move the ball step. We have 26 coders so far have finished it. So I'll just give a little bit more time just for people to finish that off. There's a few more steps in that. You'll know, so what we try and do with each coding project, we just break it down into different steps, and then we give you the information for those steps. So we give you the codes that you need to add. We'll give you some pictures, maybe some animations to show you what should happen when you add the code. We also put in some audio instructions, so you'll see up the top right of each step there's a play, pause and volume buttons. So if you ever want to, if you don't want to listen to me call out the instructions, you can even press play and you'll get the instructions read out to you in audio. Okay, so we've got 36 coders have finished that step, so I think we're good to move on to step number 6. So this is where we're going to add in the Goalkeeper Sprite. So there's a sprite in the Sprite library called Casey. We're going to add Casey in, and then we're going to position Casey in the middle of the goal at the start, in the kind of goalkeeper stance, so in the goalkeeper stance like that. And we're going to program Casey then to point in the direction 90, which is basically the direction that Casey starts off in. So this is just the code to set up Casey at the start, ready to save a shot. We're going to actually point Casey when Casey dives. So at the start we have to move Casey back to normal, and then we're going to use this set rotation left and right. Let me zoom in here a little bit. We're going to use this set rotation left and right block, and what that does is sometimes when you rotate a sprite, it can actually flip them upside down, so this will just make sure that Casey stays the right way up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So I'm going to go switch to Scratch. I'm going to open up the Sprite library. I'm going to get Casey here and add Casey in. And I'm going to just double check my code. Okay, so when green flag clicked, set size to 70% and then switch costume to Casey A. So I'll show you what I mean by switch costume in a second. So events toolbox, when green flag clicked, let's zoom in a little bit, looks, set size to 100%, we'll change that to 70, and then switch costume to Casey A. And I'll show you what I mean here. If I click into the costumes tab for Casey, you'll see that Casey has 4 different costumes, A, B, C, and D, and A is the one where Casey is kind of in the pose, ready to save the shot. So let me flip back and see. So go to X0, Y30. Okay. So into the motion toolbox, get a go to XY block, go to X0, Y30, point in direction 90, and down the bottom of the motion toolbox is the set rotation size style left, right. So once I've done that, added my code, I'm going to click on the green flag and we'll just see that that puts Casey in the middle the way we want, set up, ready to go to save the shot. So if you want to go ahead, come out of full screen if you are in full screen on YouTube and switch to Scratch and add in Casey from the Sprite library. So remember the Sprite library is down the bottom right. So the little cat icon, and then click on the magnifying glass to choose a sprite from the library. Add Casey in, and then what you're going to do is go into the events toolbox and add in when green flag clicked. Then into the looks toolbox, and you're going to add in looks, set size to 100%, but change the 100 to 70. Still in the looks toolbox, you'll get the switch costume to Casey A. And then you're going to go into the motion toolbox where you're going to add in go to XY block and change the values so that they're X0, Y30. Then get a point in direction 90 block, still from the motion toolbox. And then right down the bottom of the motion toolbox is the set rotation style left, right. You're going to put that in at the end. Once you've done all that, click on the green flag and you should see Casey go into the middle of the screen, or the middle of the goal, I should say. Oh, we got a golf ball badge, nice. Okay, so I'll mark my step as done and we'll just see the coders come in here and finish the step. So 38, finished the last one. So 24 so far, oh wow, well done. 24 finished that step already. So I'll give a little bit more time to finish that step before we move on to step number 7. So we've only a few more steps to go, 7, 8 and 9 and 10. 4 more steps. So I'll give it just a little bit more time. In the next step, we're going to make Casey dive because Casey's going to also, when we broadcast the shoot message from the stage, that goes out to all sprites. So we're going to get Casey to receive that message and then do something about it, basically dive in a random direction. Okay, I'll just wait for the coder's number to update here so I can see how many have finished the step. Okay, we're up to 28 have finished it so far. What time are we at? We're at 35 minutes past 11. Okay, great. going along nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish out the remaining steps here, and then at the end we're going to do the draw for the microbit V2. Okay, so I think I'll move on now to the next step, which is to make the goalkeeper dive. If you're still working away, if I'm a little bit ahead of you, that's no problem. Just keep on working away. And again, all the steps are still up here. The project's going to stay up here, so you can just work away at your own time to get it done. Okay, so step number 7, we're going to make Casey dive. So let me just zoom in on the little animation here. So when we take our shot, Casey is going to choose a random direction, between left and right, to dive in and change the costume to be a kind of diving costume with one hand up, one hand down, and then move in that direction. So we're going to be adding in when I receive shoot. So again, this is going to be added to the Casey sprite. So when I receive shoot, switch costume to Casey D, and that's the one with, you know, Casey with one arm up, one arm down. Point in direction. Here's where we're going to choose a random direction between minus 180 all the way over to 180. So anywhere in this direction, Casey's going to point in, not underneath, just so that's why we want to keep Casey upright. And then what we're going to do is move 100 steps, so make Casey move in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to add in the code. So this is going to be into Casey, so I'll move this over, so a bit of space. Okay, so I'm going to go into the events toolbox when I receive shoot. And I have such a short-term memory, I have to go back and check. Switch costume to KCD, so that's in looks. Switch costume to KCD, into the motion toolbox, and we're going to get a point in direction block. So at the moment it's 90, and what we want to do is get a random number. So we're going to go into the operators block toolbox and get a pick random 1 to 10, and we're going to put that in instead of the 90. So you can see as I drag it over, it kind of gets a white halo around it. That means it's ready to be dropped in, and it'll drop in there. So we want to say point in direction, and the first number is minus 80. So from minus 180 to 180, so this direction. Casey's going to point in, and then finally move, make Casey dive. So into the motion toolbox, get the move 10 steps, and change it to move 100. Click on your green flag to make sure all your code is loaded in. And now when I take my shot, Casey should dive. Yeah. So I scored. Well, Casey would have saved that, but the reason why the ball just went straight through Casey is we haven't added any code yet to detect that Casey has made the save, that the ball is touching Casey. But I just want to test that Casey is diving in the right direction, changing costume. So that's working, and then when we click on green flag, again, this code is running where it's setting Casey back to normal, ready for the next shot. So if you want to go ahead, if you haven't already, and start adding in that code into Casey. So you're going to be adding, going into the events toolbox when I receive shoot, into the looks toolbox, and get a switch costume to Casey D. If it's not Casey D, it says in it, just click on the little white arrow and choose Casey D. Then into the motion toolbox, and you're going to get a point in direction 90 block. And then we're going to go into the operators toolbox. The operators toolbox has loads of different kind of operators for adding, for arithmetic, so adding, subtraction, multiplication, division. You can get a random number. You can check if something is bigger, greater than a number, so greater than 50, less than 50, equal to 50, and you can do different things for if you want to check two different things in an if block. That's what you get those blocks, operator blocks in the operators toolbox. And then finally, once you've put that in and entered in minus 180 and 180 in the pick random, you want to just go into the motion toolbox and get a move 10 steps and change 10 to 100. And then once you've got that done, try it out. So click on the green flag to test that your code is working. So it should work like that, where the ball is shooting and Casey is choosing a direction to dive in and changing costume. If anything's not working, you can just take your time, go back and check on the step. You can just go back, check the instructions in the step, make sure you've added it right, correct anything you need to, and then try it again. So I'm going to click on done, see what I got. Oh, Xbox, legendary. Nice, okay. So we'll just give a little bit of time for people to finish off that before we move on to step number 8. So we still have 45 people working away, which is brilliant. I'm just waiting for the stats to update. The way this works is we just have a little bit of code in the background, which is just keeping an eye on everything as people work through the code and mark the steps as done. And then it just updates. So we can see, oh wow, 30 people already. So 30 coders already have completed the step number 7, make the goalkeeper dive. Oh, username Kenya, nice. And they got the PlayStation Legendary as well. Have a look at that. Very nice. So Kenya, Shez or Shay, French, Hugo, Fraught Dessert, Moon 11, 1B, Aoife, Chris J, Ballmaster, Hugo, Star Behan, James, Aoife, Kenya. So lots, Amy G, anyone I haven't called out, Coding Club, Mr. Krabby Patty, Minecraft, Jimbo 1920 Pro, Richard, Amy G, Oz Teen, coming from Australia maybe. If you are, you're very welcome. It's probably night time over there. What is it? 8 or 9 hours ahead, 10 hours ahead. Lars 2. So loads of coders. Okay, so we're up to 33 coders have completed that step. So we're going to move on to step number 8. And here's where we're going to detect, let me zoom in here to the center so you can see, here's where we're going to detect that the goalkeeper makes a save. So if the goalkeeper guesses right and the ball touches off any part of the sprite, the goalkeeper sprite, we're going to detect that, stop everything and say it's saved. And I'll show you how we're doing that. So here, so we've already added in most of this code, and underneath the move 8 steps that we've already added in, we're going to add in this code here. If touching Casey, then say it's saved for 2 seconds, and we're going to stop this script. So that's going to stop the ball from moving. So this is new code that we're adding into the Soccer Ball Sprite. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go into Scratch, click on the soccer ball, zoom into the toolbox. Okay, so to get an if-then block, we're going to go into the control toolbox. So an if-then block, what these do is they let us test a condition. We can test if something is true. So test if the ball is touching the Casey sprite. And if it is, we're going to say it's saved and make everything stop. So what you need to do is, in the control toolbox, get the if-then and drag that in, and we're going to put it underneath the move 8 steps block and inside the repeat block. Now if you put it in the wrong place, that's alright, you can break it off and try again. So inside the repeat block, underneath the move 8 steps, we're going to put it in, and you can see it's got a little gap in it for the condition that we want to check is true, test is true. So we're going to go into the sensing toolbox, and here's where we can sense loads of different things. So this top block here, touching mouse pointer, we can actually change that to say touching Casey. So we're going to drag it in, and again we're going to put it, once we get the halo, as you can see, and get the little halo between the if and the then, drop it in and click on the white arrow, and it should list Casey, as that's a sprite added to our project, and change it to Casey. Once that's in, we're going to go into the Lux toolbox and get a say hello for 2 seconds. We're going to put that inside the if. So if touching Casey, then say it's saved, or whatever you want to put in for 2 seconds, and then into control toolbox, and scroll down a little bit, there's a stop all block in here. We're going to put that underneath the say it's saved, and we're going to change that to just this script. So let me zoom in on that so you can kind of see a little bit better. So stop this script, so not all, but this script. I can move it up a little bit. Let me just check that this works. So we'll have to get Casey to save. Yep, there we go. So the ball touched off Casey and it stopped and said it's saved. So if you want to go ahead now and do that step, so this is code that you're adding to the soccer ball, and you're adding it to the when I receive shoot blocks of code that you already added. So you're going to be adding in the control toolbox if then, and you're going to put that underneath the move 8 steps. Then go into the sensing toolbox, get a touching mouse pointer, and put that inside the if then in the little shape, and change mouse pointer to be Casey. And then into the looks toolbox, and you're going to get a say hello for 2 seconds, but you're going to change and you're going to drag that and put that inside the if then block, and you're going to change hello to be it's saved, or you know, whatever you want to put in there. Keeper makes a great save, whatever commentary you want. And then into the control toolbox and get a stop all block and put that underneath the say block and change all to be this script, so it says stop this script. So I am going to switch back to my code, my instructions, and check off that step is done. And see what I get. So I'm after getting a deer from the animal series. So I'll give people time to finish off that. Just for anyone that's waiting. So what happens with all these badges is they get saved to your profile. So you can go up to the top here of our website, and you can open up your profile page. So I'll just open up a new tab here at my profile. You can see all the lists, the kind of feed of all your recent activity. You can go in and see what badges you have already earned. So you can see here I've got all 3 of the Xbox series, the original, the rare, and the legendary. So science series and so on. You can go in, you can see all the available badges. So I've still quite a few to get in the animal series, gamer series. I've got all 3 of the gamepads, and so on. We also have leaderboards. So in here it'll show you your age class for the coding club you're in. So we have different coding clubs, so at schools and libraries. We have a Coding Ireland coding club. And you'll see where you are today, the last 7 days, and so on. It'll show our top coders. I'm just really running through this just to give people time in the background to finish that step, which I'll jump back now. So where were we? So we've done all the way up to step 8. So we're going to be moving on to step number 9. Close that down. Okay, so how many? We have 25 coders have completed step number 8. So we'll just give a little bit more time, and then we'll do step 9. So we're coming up nearly at 10 to 12. So we should hopefully be finished at 12. And again, just to remind you, we're going to give out our microbit at the end to one of the coders. Okay. So, okay, I think we'll go on now to step number 9. So here is where we're going to detect if the ball hits the post. So we did detect if Casey saved it. This time, I'll choose this one, we're going to detect if the ball hits the post. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to add in, and let me zoom in here, we're going to add in another if-then block. So quite similar to the previous one about if touching Casey, but this time we're going to say if touching the colour white of the goalpost, then we're going to say it hits the post, and again stop this script. So let me switch to Scratch, and I'll zoom in here. So if you want, you can add all these back in from the toolbox, or if you want to be a little bit quicker about it, let me zoom this or drag this up, zoom in and drag up. You can right click on the if then that's already in there and you can choose duplicate, and that will just create a copy of that code. You can see I create a copy there, and then you can put that anywhere you want. And where we want to put it is still inside the repeat block, but underneath the if touching Casey set of blocks. So I'm going to click it in there, drag up a little bit. So we've got it, it's the exact same at the moment, but instead of this touching Casey block, we want touching color. So what I want to do is drag this and throw it away into the toolbox. And I'm going to go into the sensing toolbox and get a touching color block. And I'm going to put that inside the if then. So here it's just defaulting to purple at the moment. We wanted to choose the white of the goals. So you can click on the color. It'll open up, here I'll do this. It'll open up a little box where you can change the color to whatever you want, or you can choose a screen color by clicking this eyedropper tool. So I'm going to click that, and you'll see that it highlights the stage area. And anywhere I put my mouse, here let me zoom in on the stage area, anywhere I put my mouse it kind of chooses that color using a magnifying glass. So we want to get the white of the goal, so get it over the white of the goal, so the circle is white, click on it and it'll save it into the block. So it's kind of just an off-white, a kind of grey eggshell colour white. And what we want to do then, say, is off the post for 2 seconds, or whatever you want. And then again, stop this script is there. So I'm going to test that it works. I'm going to try and shoot to the side, and there we go. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you my screen. So I'll do that again. Oh, Casey saved it. I'll keep on going left. There we go. So we can see that the ball touched off the white of the post, which meant that this code was activated and ran and said off the post for 2 seconds and then stop this script. So if you want to go ahead and do that, again, you can add that code in from the each block in from the toolbox one by one again, or you can just right click and duplicate. So right click on the if touching Casey set of code and duplicate, and that'll create a copy. Okay, I'm after creating 2 copies, but I'll delete those. So I'll give you a bit of time to go ahead and do that. In the meantime, I'll mark my step as done and see what I'm after getting. Another legendary, I'm getting loads of legendaries today. So I'm getting a flask, a potion flask from the science series. Okay. So we can see some people are ahead, some people are starting off the project. If you're starting off the project now, no problem. It's take your time, work your way through it. All the information should be there in the steps, and we'll even put in the video at the end. So we're on to the last step now, which is to score a goal. So I'll just give people 1 more minute to finish the previous step of detecting if the ball hits the white of the post before moving on to the final step, number 10, to score a goal. So we're up to 21 coders have completed the step number 9 to see if they hit the post. So 1 more step, we'll finish that, we'll wrap it up, and then we'll do the giveaway for the microbit. Okay, I'll just call out some of the people here. So Ballmaster, Kenya, Ches or Shay, not sure if it's a French pronunciation, Mr. Krabby Patty, Lars 2, Vinia, Frost, Dessert 2, Dajk, D-A-J-C, Dajk, Striped Guitar, Minecraft, Aoife, Jimbo, 1920 Pro, that's my favourite one so far, Tomry, Moon 11 1B, Star Behan, Mooch, Ballmaster, Curl 12, Luna, Coding Club, Mr. Krabby Patty, Chris J, Isabel B, Mooch, I think I called out Mooch, Tummy Tum Tums, How are you doing? That's a great username. Aoife. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to keep on going now. So Luna's completed the project. Well done, Luna. So the last step is step number 10, and it's a very simple step. So there's 3 outcomes that can happen when you take a shot. The keeper can make a save, number 1. Number 2, it can hit the post, or if neither of those happens, it means the ball went into the goal. So it's a goal. That's the 3rd outcome. So you can see here, it didn't hit the post. The keeper didn't make a save, so it went in and it's a goal. So all we need to do, let me zoom in here, is we just need to add in a say goal block, or say hello block, and then change it to goal, right at the very bottom of our when I receive shoot for the Soccer Ball Sprite. Because the way it works is, as the code is coming down, it'll get into this repeat 30 times as the ball gets smaller and moves away. It'll check if the ball is touching Casey, it'll keep on checking that. And if that code doesn't get hit, it'll move on. It'll check if the ball is touching the white of the goal, keep on checking that. If that code if it doesn't detect that, it'll move on, and it'll eventually get to here. And this is where we add in to say it's a goal. So if Casey doesn't save, and if we don't hit the post, then it's going to be a goal. So let me jump into Scratch. So it's very easy. All you need to do is go into the Looks toolbox, get another say hello for 2 seconds block, and type in goal. I think that's how you spell goal, for 2 seconds. And once you have that in, let's test that it works. So I'm going to click on the green flag, just make sure my code is loaded in. And there we go. So goal, wasn't saved, didn't hit the post. So 3 in a row. There's one where Casey saved. So very simple, just to finish off that last step, and probably the most important one, scoring the goal. So go ahead now, if you haven't already, go into the Looks toolbox, and you're going to be adding this code to the Soccer Ball Sprite, right down the bottom of the when I receive shoot group of code blocks. You're going to add in the say goal for 2 seconds. So I'll give everyone some time to do that. I'm going to go ahead and mark it as done on mine, get my badge, and that will update the stats, and we'll see people as they finish off the project. Okay, so we've got Shay has completed the project. Ozteen is up to step number 8. Well done, Ozteen, keep on going. Kenya, well done, completed the project. Lars is working through it, well done. Vinya has completed the project, well done, and got a paw, legendary. Nice. Lars working through. Striped Guitar is up to step 8, well done. Isabel has joined in. Mooch is up to, Mooch is already done, I think. Ballmaster 8 is up to step number 8. Yeah, well done, keep going. Chris J has done step number 7. Okay, that's brilliant, people working away. Okay, we've just a couple of minutes left. Those that are working away, keep on working away. What we're going to do is we are going to give away the microbit. Did I actually show you how this actually works? So, I did, yep. So the microbit, it's got LEDs. It's kind of hard to see. My camera zooms in on me. Let me put it there. So it's got LEDs, it's got buttons, it's got loads of different things. It's got loads of sensors on it. Microphone, speaker, Bluetooth, it's really cool. So anyway, we're going to give that away. So the way I'm going to do this is I am going to get the list of coders that have been working away today. So 28 now. I've got 43 coders. Wow, brilliant. And I'm going to put everyone into the list. And I'm going to bring the list in here so everyone can see. Okay. So I won't be able to show the full list, but everyone should be there from 29 Enderman all the way down to Vinia. So it doesn't matter where you are in this list, you'll have a number beside you. And what we are going to do is I am going to just actually create a new project in Scratch. And we are just going to quickly add some code. So what I'm going to do is when green flag clicked, we're going to say think for 3 seconds. And then we are going to say the lucky coder is, oh, I'm shouting it. The lucky coder is, and we're going to pick it random. And let me just check how many I have again. Between 1 and 43. So between 1 and 43. There we go. Okay. So here we go. I'll zoom in on the stage area so we can see. So whoever, whatever number comes up here, we're just going to do this once. Whatever number comes up is going to be the number of the winner. Let me just check my code because I don't want anything to go wrong. Okay, so I'm going to click on the green flag and scratch the sprite. It's going to think for 3 seconds and then tell us what number the lucky coder is. So, and the lucky coder is 34. So let me go back to our list and we will get 34. So Pokemon, you are the lucky coder today. You're going to be getting the microbit. So what we'll do is we'll send you an email to your parents and we'll get your address and get this posted out to you. So you'll get that this week. So that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed today. Oh, let me just quickly go back and check to see. Great, we have people still working away. 26 have finished it already. So yeah, brilliant. Hope everyone enjoyed that today. Sorry, going to my end screen. Hope everyone enjoyed that today. It's a simple enough project. We're going to be doing more of these code alongs, and we'll do them. We might do them at different levels. More beginner, more advanced as well, and we'll broadcast them live on YouTube. What we'll do is we'll send out emails to all the Coding Club members, let them know that they're up and coming. For anyone that wants to become a Coding Club member, you can just do that through our website or do it through your school or your library if you want to get them to get in touch with us. We'll help them out in setting up a Coding Club. So hope everyone enjoyed it today and we'll see you again soon. See you, bye.